Gopalan Endowment Lecture has been a cherished academic tradition of our department for several years. Instituted in honor of Dr. R. Gopalan, one of the early pillars of Department of Chemistry, this lecture series stands as a tribute to his valuable contributions to academic excellence and scientific growth. Through this endowment, the department invites eminent personalities from academia and industry to share their knowledge and inspire young minds. It is not merely a lecture, it is a bridge connecting classroom learning with real-world scientific advancements. Today, we are gathered to witness yet another enriching session under this prestigious endowment. Now, I invite Dr. Nimi Edwin, President of the Chemical Society and Associate Professor, to felicitate Dr. R. Gopalan.
Good morning, distinguished guests, my colleagues, and my dear students. I would like to extend a warm welcome to our speaker, Dr. Bhuvaneswari. Earlier in November, we had a regional meet with the faculty from all around Chennai, and ma'am had come for that event. And she was a wonderful speaker, so we thought that this should reach our students also. She talked about industry academia tie-up, and we thought that it should reach the students. So as soon as this Gopalan endowment came up, we thought that we'll invite ma'am. Thanks for coming, ma'am. I would now offer my felicitations to Dr. R. Gopalan. I was fortunate enough to be his student here from 1996 to 1999. You could, all of us would have seen that stairs all in the main block. All the stairs have some glittery particles. Have you seen that? Okay. So once Dr. Gopalan, in his 2002 Commemoration Day address, he had said that as a student climbs the stairs of MCC, they notice the glistening starry particles in the stone. He believed that our founders did this to remind us to aspire for the stars. Looking at his life, he didn't aspire for them, he mapped them out for us to follow. I'll just give a brief introduction to Dr. R. Gopalan. Dr. R. Gopalan, fondly referred to as Dr. RG, was born on 3rd May 1944 to Mr. Raghavachari and Mrs. Maithili Raghavachari at Chengalpet. After undergraduate studies at A.M. Jain College, he stepped into the portals of Madras Christian College in 1964 for postgraduate studies. He pursued the PhD program from 1966 to 1970 under the guidance of Professor I.M. Mathai, former head of the Department of Chemistry. Dr. RG joined the department as faculty in 1968, and for the quest for chemistry propelled him to carry out a postdoctoral research work at Baylor University, Texas, during the period 1979 to 1981. He assumed the office as head of the department in 1984 and worked dedicatedly for the upliftment of the department till his retirement. He promoted and sustained a good working culture in the department during his tenure as head, and furthermore, he maintained a delicate balance between academic freedom to the faculty on one hand and scrutinizing the proper execution of responsibility on the other. His contributions to the field of chemistry are tremendous. In the course of his tenure as professor, he has guided 8 research scholars, published about 50 research articles in leading national and international journals, and presented research papers in numerous national and international conferences. He is well known in the scientific community through his lectures on contemporary topics at universities, colleges, and schools. To add to his credentials, he has authored around 20 textbooks in chemistry at school and college level, which are very popular among students. He served as a principal investigator in a major research project which was sponsored by the Department of Atomic Energy. Dr. R. Gopalan has a keen interest in enhancing scientific literacy in the society. This has manifested in the form of contributing articles on science and education to popular magazines and national newspapers. As part of the teaching and research experience, he served in several administrative positions such as Dean of Sciences, member of the Senators, Library Committee convener, and in various steering committees of MCC. Dr. R. Gopalan's teaching and research career at Madras Christian College spanned about 3.5 decades. As I told, I was fortunate enough to be a student of R. Gopalan. I still remember his nuclear chemistry classes. So nuclear chemistry was in the 3rd year of UG. So his classes were like a narrative. For like most of the chemistry classes are basically equations, right? But his classes were like a narrative. So whenever he came to class, he would talk about the nuclear reactors, how the Manhattan Project, and he would tell the story about the fat man and the little boy. You know what they are? Yeah, they were the atom bombs which he dropped. Okay, so he told the story of the fat man, and with such delight that we could see the history unfold in front of our eyes. So each of his classes were not just lecture classes. It was like more like an experience to all of us. And I have another anecdote to share with you about Dr. Gopalan. So when I was a student, I used to attend all the classes. Like the 75% attendance, I didn't know about 75% attendance when I was a student. So I attended all classes and meticulously took notes of all the lectures that was given by Sir. And as usual, the CA came. So I expected some good marks because since Sir has taught everything, I had attended all classes. So I thought I would score good marks, but the marks were a little bit lower. So I went and asked Sir, like, oh, Sir, what is the reason? And what he told was, like, that extra marks, for that extra marks, you have to put some extra effort by reading books. So he was the one who cultivated this habit of reading books among students. So later, I started this habit. I collected many books and started reading them. So a teacher is like a doorway, okay? And the student has to, he'll just make you enter through that, and you have to pass through. So this habit of reading has now decreased among all students, and I suggest that, as my professor has suggested, for that extra marks, read some extra books. And Dr. Gopalan was English expert, as he was a chemist. And once there was a question paper which had this phrase, explain briefly. Okay, so at that time, Sir has ridiculed that, what an irony, how can you explain something in depth while being brief? He taught to us that precision in language is as important as precision in a titration. So this is my experience with him as a student. Later, when I became a faculty here in Madras Christian College, Sir always visits the department. He doesn't go anywhere. He comes straight to the department staff room. And he doesn't always require a formal reception. What he does is he goes to the faculty member, whether it's a new faculty member or a new old one. He introduces himself to them, and for him there is no difference between a teaching or a non-teaching faculty member. He says that all are a part of this great MCC family. And 2 years back, I had an opportunity to visit him at his home. He's around 80 years. Okay? And he had said that he had recently taken some lectures for 3 continuous hours. And I said, Sir, at my age, am not able to stand for 2 continuous hours. And how he could do that is, it's because he had the passion for chemistry. Even now, we can see him at different refresher courses and orientation courses at the University of Madras, not as a spectator, but as the one who's leading the session. The strength of a teacher is known by the love of his student. Actually, this Gopalan Endowment Lecture was established in 2004, and initially it had a very small amount, so we thought that we could expand this. Okay. So last year we could expand this to 20 lakhs amount, and we thought that it could be an Herculean task to collect this much sponsorship, but we found that his students from all across the globe came up, and this was made very easy because of them. We are so thankful for this, as it allows the department to breathe, innovate, and host the very activities we are enjoying today. In conclusion, I would like to say, Dr. Gopalan was the glistening starry particles on the stairs of this department. You taught us to read beyond the syllabus, to speak with grammatical grace, and to lead with humility. As we move into today's lecture, we do so under the shadow of your immense contribution. We wish you continued health, many more hours of standing at the podium, and many more books to inspire the next generation. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for a warm introduction and felicitation. Now, to introduce our esteemed speaker for today's endowment lecture, I request Dr. C. Amritavalli, Vice President of the Chemical Society and Associate Professor, Department of Chemistry, to kindly do the honors.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's my privilege to introduce one of the most inspiring women and a visionary woman leader, Dr. Bhuvaneswari Sridhar, currently working as adjunct faculty at Department of Chemistry, IIT Madras. Next slide. Dr. Bhuvaneswari Sridhar is a highly experienced pharmaceutical scientist, R&D leader, whose career spans strategic leadership, operations management, technology transfer, and mentoring, both within industry and academia. Next slide. Her journey in chemistry started with BSc at Qaida Millat College for Women, where she was a gold medalist, securing first rank in the college. Completed her MSc at University of Madras, later moved to IIT Madras for PhD, to work under the supervision of renowned organic chemist Dr. K.K. Balasubramaniam, who was also a teacher for me also when I was doing my MSc there. She was a recipient of a JRF and SRF fellowship given by CSIR during her PhD tenure, and later she moved on to the Okayama Prefectural University for her postdoctoral research. Her journey from a government college to a foreign country is very inspiring, and it is not that you have to study in a very prestigious institution to go abroad. It is your mindset and your willingness to contribute and put efforts, right? That is very important for you to excel in life, and that's a lesson that I have taken from Bhuvaneswari ma'am. Let us look at her career trajectory, the key roles she held, and the contributions she made. The timeline is still growing, so there is no end there. Dr. Bhuvaneswari started her career as Senior Research Officer at IIT Madras in 1995 and 96. Later, she moved to Shawson as Deputy General Manager in 1996, where she led the novel and patentable process development, optimization, identification of various active pharmaceutical ingredients. Now they call it as with an acronym API. And many more contributions to expand the R&D of the company. So she did not stop her work with the lab alone. She also contributed to the growth of the company and business development of the company. She became the Senior General Manager at Sanmar Specialty Chemicals for 10 years from 2002, where she managed global clients. So she moved from a national level to the international level and took the techno-commercial role for the business development. I asked ma'am, have you done any MBA? No, I think her experience will be a master class for all MBA students. She served a short tenure at SNF Florger Group for 6 months and has head generics R&D again in Sanmar Pharma for 8 months. In January 2014, she entered into Pfizer, where she became the director of the company and site head. She served the company for more than 11 years till she retired in June 2025. At Pfizer, she led API R&D operations, oversaw process chemistry and small molecule technology development, managed technology transfer and manufacturing scale-up, led site operations and contributed to strategic development of the company. So we can see a wide area where she has contributed, not only in the lab, she also was a leader for the whole R&D, and she contributed to the development of the company also. This period represents most prominent industrial leadership role. She has nearly 30 years of experience across pharmaceutical and chemical sectors with a career blending scientific research, technology transfer, manufacturing, R&D leadership and operations. Dr. Bhuvaneswari has been featured among notable Indian women leaders in STEM, science, technology, engineering and maths during 2021 and recognized by industry bodies such as Confederation of Indian Industry as a part of 50 women achievers in science and technology. This was the most inspiring context when I was trying to prepare about her, to introduce her. I really felt very inspiring, ma'am, on reading the whole article that was given in CII book. And the quote that was marked here, that was the quote given by ma'am to those who are hesitating to take decisions in their industry-related career. She says, if you leave this time, no other time is going to be as good for a career in industry. So she's pointing out that don't miss this opportunity, it will never come again. As a leader, the lessons, her lessons are more than what a management and leadership course would teach. Next slide. Every individual has to be seen and heard, which is the inclusivity part of the organization, irrespective of any gender, generational or regional diversity. She has given IIT Research Park YouTube site. We can come across the ma'am's interview, and there this is what is required in any organization, right? Irrespective of gender, generation and region, right? The people have to be included for the growth of any firm or any organization. Ma'am, this inclusivity thought of you is what makes you not only as a leader of an organization, but it is this quality of you that resides in the heart of the people whom you have interacted, because I'm going to give you what people had said from their heart. She believes that any kind of challenge that comes forward as people aspect, women contribute in making the better place for everyone. Next slide. Nothing brings more happiness than hearing that people share their experiences with us even when we are not around. Am I right? Even when you are not there, right? When people talk about very appreciative of us and they remember us and they share the words from the heart. So I contacted a student from here who is working in Pfizer, and she collected the information from her colleagues who have worked with ma'am. I don't want to read it line by line. I will read very important, the phrases which are very inspirational. Who stood out most was unwavering energy. So this we can see that even during the regional meet or even now, whenever we call her, she immediately comes. She goes to different colleges as Board of Studies member. In one such situation only, I met her in DG Vaishnav College. And then her energy is very transferable. It is very, you can easily get the energy from her. She is very enthusiastic to interact with people, transfer her ideologies on chemistry, education, industry to everyone. Even after retirement, her willingness to share knowledge and support continues. I feel proud to be one of her mentees. Ma'am, I don't know who is that, so you should be very happy for that. Her ability to balance home, personal commitments and a demanding leadership role. Ma'am, this is the most inspiring aspect of you, and no wonder you are one among the top women scientists published by RSC in 2024. She made it a priority that everyone had the opportunity to learn and grow. I think Dr. Bhuvaneswari is fondly remembered for her inclusivity, mentorship, and women empowerment. So I have few more messages also, ma'am. I will share it through WhatsApp so that this is the one out of all the rewards that we get. The comments or the appreciations that we get from our colleagues and people around us makes us the day actually. Truly, Dr. Bhuvaneswari Sridhar is a multi-faceted personality. It is not by the count of how many publications or how many presentations, how many patents she has. She is a trained organic chemist, a STEM professional, a mentor to young scientists, an inspirational and distinguished leader that matters a lot. Ma'am, I invite you to deliver Dr. R. Gopalan Endowment Lecture. The stage is all yours, and young minds are waiting to be inspired by you. Welcome you, ma'am.
So again, thanks to the organizers, thanks to MCC, principal and others, because I consider it as a privilege rather than spending time, because students are our future, and it is always important that whatever time that we have to invest on that is going to be definitely useful. So whenever I am called, wherever I am called, I immediately say I will be there, and today is one another day like that, and I am privileged to be here and standing in front of you, and I am sure that each one of you will have an opportunity to do similar things as you grow in your career. And another one that is coming alongside is our National Science Day, which is 28th of February, and today it is also possibly celebrated across many scientific organizations. Today we talk about several technology. For each of the technology, whether it is engineering technology in terms of building a bridge, or AI technology where we are able to predict things, there is an underlying chemical element that has to be understood clearly so that we can improve it, because nothing stands still, right? We have to see improvement in every phase of everything, and our chemical sciences becomes a base science to get that improvement on. Whether it is a material chemistry that helps to build sustainable materials towards the environment, or it is a kind of a chip to get the AI working. It is a semiconductor material that a chemist has to develop. So we are all here very privileged to be part of that chemistry arena. So make sure that the learning and knowledge that you gain here becomes a building block for any aspect of career that you want to choose. So let me go into the next one, and I have certain. So I also, when I heard about Professor Gopalan, I could immediately correlate it to Professor KKB, because many of the aspects that Professor Amitavalli was talking resonates with my guide also. So we all carry those enthusiasm from our teachers, right? So he is 88 now, and I saw him at IIT Chemistry Department, Chemical Engineering Department day before yesterday. So this is the way that they transfer their knowledge and their energy, that it comes automatically to us. We don't specifically put any effort for that. So it is important that we carry it forward to the next generation. Okay. So what I want to just inspire among us is, let us not just put ourselves as, oh, I learned some organic chemistry mechanism and I go write the exam, my job is over, I get my mark, I go to my next degree, join job. I think we have to know to connect everything. As chemists, I think we will be immediately able to say, whatever be the field of research or field of technology improvement, there is a role for chemists to play a part. So let us take food. So today we are talking about the agriculture, improving the agriculture, green revolution. So people use fertilizers. So there is a lot of effort from chemists that is required to get that improved. And similarly, apparel and textile, today we may talk many things about the dyes and the pollution, but it is in our hands that we bring some natural product and sustainable dyes, and also manufacture different colors and innovate in dye manufacturing so that we can reduce the environmental impact. Again, it goes to the chemist's hands. And then petroleum engineering, again, people can build structures, but what additive to add to improve the calorific value of a petrol or a diesel? Today we are talking about 20% ethanol is going to be mandatory from 1st of April. So all of this, I think the chemistry backbone is important to define what and where to move forward. And I am taking pharmaceutical, which I will deal in detail because that is my area of work all 30 years. And then ceramic, again, there is a lot of improvement. If you take any artwork, it is a chemistry and chemicals that is important. Leather technology, we all would like to wear many things with leather, but it is important that how the leather tanning is done. Chromium is a no-no. So what are all the newer methodologies? Again, it goes to chemist's hands. And then biotechnology, we all know protein, amino acids, all are chemical structures. Unless you know how to cleave a sulfur-sulfur bond or to make a amide bond, which is a chemist learn it, we cannot build artificial proteins, or we cannot build the biologics or biosimilars, which are transforming the pharmaceutical industry today. So basic chemistry is all pervasive. So be very, very enthusiastic about you have chosen a fantastic field of knowledge gain and use it wherever you go. So what is needed is, I was coming today and I was enthused by a comment. Again, possibly I can brush it aside as a driver. But he was so passionate about chemistry. Unfortunately, he could not continue in that area is what he was sharing with me. And he was saying today there's no invention. Everything is innovation only. That was his statement. I think we can trouble ourselves saying that, oh, do I do a discovery? Yes, discoveries are important. Many a time discoveries are serendipitous also. It is not intentional. But innovation and development is very intentional. You have a end point to reach. For everything there is a further development that is required. And it needs a lot of science, knowledge, understanding to make that improvement. So for example, I take energy, photography, and even in cosmetics. Like I think most of us use products from L'Oreal, Tresemme. We call all those brands. But where are they coming from? They need a lot of chemists and engineers to build it together as a product that is usable. So let us all put our energy to understand one area that you want to be passionate about. There are 100+ industries, but you choose your interest and you can be the star there by making a big difference, by innovating something different, by improving something different, or discovering something different. So let us not separate anything from anything. They are all interconnected. So in terms of development, we need improved performance. We need improved manufacturing processes for many pharma or products. Improved energy efficiency is another thing. Today we are all talking about energy war and then green energy. Minimizing waste is another area, minimizing environment impact. So we want to do more with less. So each of us have a place to contribute. Let us be very clear about it. So the chemists and technologies can make a difference. But we have to work together. So when it comes to careers for chemists, as I said, everybody would say, oh, I want to be a discovery chemist. Sometimes I am really little bit troubled by that statement because discovery is only a starting point. But in order for the discovery to reach or to reach a place to a public, there is a lot of work. So I think everything needs great chemistry, and let us put ourselves into wherever in the value chain we can contribute, we can take that career. Everybody need not to be only a discovery chemist. So there is process development, which is a big area that is not only towards cost, that is towards improving quality, improving safety for people. So there are a lot more aspects and avenues that you can focus on. And then tech transfer is another big area, manufacturing, and then analytical. I think the speaker before me talked about AI, right? So most of it, that data and data integration happens today, and there are many different ways of integrating the data. But as chemists, we have a bigger role to play at the baseline. 100% we have to assure our data that is feeded into the AI mission is the right data. That is a very important responsibility, because you can also choose a AI career. I'm not saying no, but your chemistry baseline knowledge should come into action wherever you go, whichever industry you choose, because that is where the base science gets executed and that innovation or improvement can happen under that kind of a overall cover of chemistry understanding. And then quality assurance is another area. Today I was told that ISO certification is a big area that India is aiming for, and they need a lot of quality scientists who can certify things, right? Whether it's a food or any other product. So there is a lot of certification chemists that is required in the market. Regulatory affairs is another thing, and earlier professor talked about FDA. Not only FDA, there is also Indian CDSCO, is the Indian Drug Regulation Authority. They also bring in a lot of controls on the products that we deliver to the market. Earlier it was only for pharma. Now even for food, there is a FSSAI, which is stamping the certification authority. All of this needs analysis and quality certification, and there is a regulatory understanding. So you are a great scientist in the lab, choose R&D, manufacturing, technology transfer. You say, I am a very good chemist, I can understand the chemistry language, but I want to work in computers. There is a quality, analytical, quality assurance, regulatory elements where your chemistry knowledge can play a lot of role. And then environment, health and safety, that is another big area, because green chemistry is a big research that is happening across all chemistry universities. Intellectual property is another thing. Today we are waiting for other countries to give this IP. When we develop our own IP, when all our innovations mature into products, I think we should know, at least have some tacit knowledge on how to protect my intellectual property. And then modeling and simulation, where the AI comes in, right? But the thing is, I would say all the top elements will feed into AI. So those elements, we need good chemists to work on it, so that you can feed the data to the AI, so that it can make others' life easier. And there is a lot of interdisciplinary work that has to be done. You just read it. So anything that we call, it needs some chemists to make sure and get the better understanding of what a particular composition is made of. And again, I think Professor Umapati talked about Ayush, right? So the components, reverse engineering is one word that is being used across industries. So what are the components in a particular mixture? What is the most active component? Several years before, Professor Govindachari, who was in the speak, he tried to separate azadirachtin in neem. We all know that neem is used whenever we get some viral infections in olden days. They bring neem leaves and keep under the pillow. And then the people found that azadirachtin is an active component that can be antiviral, but separating it in purest form was the most difficult part, but several people engaged in that. So isolation chemistry itself is a big science. So make sure that you are able to put your passion. I heard somebody talking about flavonoids. Flavonoids are natural products available in multiple natural products, but how to separate it in its purest form and how to make it useful and then confirm its action. All these involve a chemist working with biologists, working with multiple people in multiple fields to bring it into action. So the skills required to get a job, right? We all aspire for the industry job. Definitely academic job is equally important, because you have to make many more newer chemists. So I think academic jobs are no less important. They are important. But today there is a lot of need for chemists in industry, because several industries, we are looking about manufacturing India for India, Indian manufacturing, indigenization. When all of this comes, in multiple industries, there is a lot of need for chemists in industry sectors. So strong scientific base, consistent and good academic record, sustained interest is most important. Hard work, commitment is another area. It is important. Nothing comes out just very easy. And then good grasp of scientific concepts. This is what I am saying. So you are learning BSc, MSc or PhD gives you good concept. And when you look at AI or when you look at a data, even when you search in anything, Perplexity or any chat GPT anywhere, you can easily say, this is a right outcome or there is some problem about it. I have to look at it in different angle. So that is most important. Concepts are important. analytical mind, perseverance, and curiosity. Curiosity is the baseline. So you have to ask question, why am I doing what am I doing? That is most important. So make sure that you develop all these skills. And another aspect is, what is the academic scientist, or I do research, or the MSc or BSc? What is my thinking versus what the industry needs, right? Highly knowledge, we get the knowledge from our college, and then more curious, more questions we ask, and then passion on different achievement. I have to achieve something. Everybody is doing something. I want to differentiatively, I want to bring my research. Ownership to individual idea. I got my idea. I have to own it. So all of these are scientists' trademark, right? And then more scientific and analytical. I want to prove my idea. I want to get my idea. And then evidence seeking. These are all scientists' trademarks. But when we move to industry, what industry looks for is timely delivery. You may have 1,000 ideas, but are you able to deliver on the commitment? Are you able to deliver the product? And then cost consciousness is another big thing. And then stop thinking. Sometimes we get so much passionate about science that we do not want to leave the idea. We want to just keep working on it. So that is another one very important for industry. And then the project and not proof. I should see a product. I don't want just, I proved that, I keep on proving. That is not important, but we should have a product. Business of science, market understanding, and multiple perspectives. So just develop these concepts in your mind when you are looking for industry careers. So as I said, a scientific organization is no different from an academic organization, except that it is cross-disciplinary. Many people have to come together. It doesn't end with one person, whereas in research, one person can work on something and produce a thesis, get a degree. But in industry, it's not so. And then unaligned goals, you will meet several people. You may have a goal, but the other person who have to complete your job may not have the same goal as priority. So how do we convince others for completion? And then high task interdependence, it's not one individual. And unique leadership challenges come in industry. So it is business as usual way of conducting science is no more going to be helpful. So it is change new leadership styles. That means I become more amenable for multiple cross-functional thinking, and then practices that support and enable collaborative science is going to be the future, right? And individual contribution to collective wisdom is going to be from the lab to industry. And then thesis publication to product delivery is what will define you in an industry career. So the 3 P's for industry job is your profile. That means I have a base knowledge and chemistry knowledge, proficiency, and practice. You should have practiced your knowledge. Just a book knowledge is not going to be useful. And then to be a leader, there is 3 C's, right? The competency, to put whatever you learned, that knowledge to practice, is the competency. Compassion, you should accept everybody, because I cannot say I will do only organic chemistry. I don't want inorganic chemists or physical chemists, because your organic chemistry success depends upon your understanding on physical chemistry concepts, starting from Lee-Chatelier principle to your mobility in an electrochemical system. If you are doing electrochemical research, you should know how ion mobility happens in an electrochemical system. So I think that compassion across multiple disciplines and people working across multiple disciplines is important. And then consciousness, that is a baseline, right? Whatever I am doing in chemistry, I do for broader good, and I do it with utmost care so that it is safe for everyone. So that consciousness is important. I'm going to take pharma sector and talk about 3 specific things. Scientific excellence, aligning to organizational need, interdisciplinary approach, which I talked about, and change agile and change management. I'm just going a little bit deep dive on this. I think most of us know about Lipitor. Lipitor is a BP drug. If you see the years that people have put into work, we all say that, these drugs are very costly, we cannot buy it. But at the same time, a pharma industry puts a lot of time and effort to bring it to market, wherein there is a lot of drain of both money as well as resources that goes with it. So it was patented in 1986, but was approved in 1996. So 10 years of work in between. And then even today, it is in the market. So it is very difficult that you have one drug that stays in the market for 30 plus years. because people invent new drugs and the old drug goes out of the market. Recently, that is what is happening. But in some of our old drugs, we had that kind of a science and stability, robustness, that those drugs are there even for today. If we take metformin, that is still used for diabetes, though there are new drugs. That is because of the cost factor. So whatever I am doing new should be able to push back that cost factor. Otherwise, it will not be successful. And normally in a lab, what I will do is, I will look for its appearance. Proton NMR, somebody talked about proton NMR today. Proton NMR, LCMS. Oh, I got the structure, it matches with the structure, I am done. But when you go to the industry, it's not just these three factors. There is something called as a specification and certificate of analysis that goes with it, that defines the quality of the medicine. Because anything that goes to a patient should be of the highest quality. So, these 3 parameters become 12 parameters. And each of it has to be tested before release to the market. And these keeps tightening and added. More parameters gets added. Because any industry that is providing a substance for human consumption is individually has to take care that this substance do not do any harm to the person who is taking it. So the quality testing becomes a very important factor, primarily in a pharma sector. So what happens is the regulatory requirement. It doesn't stop there, because the regulatory agencies around the world find something new. They want to put new controls and conditions. Recently, I think there was one thing called as nitrosamines. Anybody who has done some kind of a pharma-related understanding, you will know. This came up in about 2018, 2019 time period, that the agency found many of the nitrogen-containing pharma compounds, by taking NO2 from the air, can form nitrosamines, and nitrosamines are carcinogenic. So you should prove in your pharma product there is no nitrosamine up to a picomolar concentration. Not millimolar, not molar, millimolar or micromolar or even nanomolar, picomolar concentration. Then your analytical methodologies should be able to define that, right? So your AI and some of these factors helps us to develop methods to identify compounds at the picomolar concentration. So for India market, we just attached our IP in Indian Pharmacopoeia. This was published only very recently. In 24, Indian Pharmacopoeia took Lipitor and published in the Pharmacopoeia book. That means after 30 years or even beyond, the compound is known, it comes into Indian Pharmacopoeia. Okay, somebody talked about API, right? Ma'am talked about this is active pharmaceutical ingredient. Any tablet we take has only portion of this active ingredient. Whether it's Brufen, we call it as Brufen 250, 500, that defines what is the milligram strength of the active ingredient. And beyond that, we have to add so many other excipients to make a tablet or a medication. So when we know that a medicine acts on something, and it is to be manufactured, right? It defines everything, and we got a regulatory nod to put it in the market. There are so many departments that has to work to get it into the market. Even after there is a certification to say you can take this product to market. So if you say, it starts with identifying a good chemistry process for it. Because when I go to the market, my cost has to be improved. During discovery, any cost is acceptable. But once I have to go to the market, my cost improvement is my first part. Otherwise, market will not accept it. So I have to do a route design, change the route, and make it more market acceptable. And then I have to do a solid state chemistry, because the solubility of my drug molecule in the biological system has to be proven by confirming the polymorph structure and what exactly is the morphology, so that the solubility parameters are unequivocally defined. Otherwise, the solubility, what we expect, the results will not come. And then there is a process development. Okay, I know the route, but that route, is it safe enough to do a manufacturing? Is it good enough for a manufacturing scale? And do you have capability to manufacture, capacity, and my infrastructure? So there will be a continuous process development, including process safety, process design, process transfer to the plant. How do I do it? And then there is something called as QBD, quality by design. I think AI is the parameter, or there is something called as design of experiments that tell us what kind of experiments can give us the best outcomes. So all these has to be done. Then there is a process validation. I have a process. I need to know the repeatability of the process. That means I have to execute it in the plant at least minimum 3 times. Minimum 3 times, get the data outcome is the same as I expected. And then you can go to the API manufacture, right? So all these has to be done before even I start the manufacturing. Sorry. And then there is a QC and analytics, as I said. So there is this analytical method is robust, is accurate, is precise. All that has to be confirmed. And we should have a good analytical method so that we are not missing any impurity identification. And then the thing comes to the market. So this many steps has to be done before we file something to the regulatory agency and get it. There is something called as drug master file. So when we complete all these steps, we file the drug master file and get the market approval. So it takes roughly about 15 years from the start to the end. That is in the past. But today with AI and with data analysis, we are able to reduce the timeline. So to take the manufacturing part alone, it's not just about the science, right? There's a lot of engineering involved, and then there is a project management. So these 3 teams has to come together to make anything successful. I have a good laboratory process, but that doesn't mean I have the ability to execute it by myself. So I have to incorporate the other departments to get it executed in the plant. And then there are multiple other functions, as I said, regulatory, quality, and then the supply chain management. Today that is the biggest part because many of our raw materials are coming from elsewhere. They are not manufactured in India. So if some vendor says, I will not supply you something, the supply chain is not controlled or understood well, we will not be able to make what we want. So I think that has to be understood well. So even in government institutes like government enterprises, earlier they were saying R&D, right? There will be only scientists who will be doing work and they will be publishing paper or getting scientist A to E or whatever it is. But now I think they all have started incorporating a support system which incorporates not only just the science but the timeline and the business development, right? What can come out of it? That is the most important part. And then they have engineering services division, they have administration, finance accounts to ensure that our cost model is right, and then stores and purchase to make sure that our supply chain is not interrupted. We have a process, we take it to the plant, but my raw material is not confirmed to be delivered. I have to stop it in between. So all these functions work together even in a government enterprise today, which was not the case about 20 to 30 years before. Now they have integrated it under one headship so that you are able to do a end-to-end correlation before you take anything to the plant. So drug discovery cycle is very complex. I explained about it already. So the failure rates are very high. So when people start with several number of compounds, they get only one of it. And then the change is constant. So what happens is I cannot stick to my idea and keep on hitting it. So I have to know why I failed in this and should be ready to make a change. So that change agility is another very important thing in industry. I cannot keep talking about what I did in the past or what I need to do continuously without even understanding why I had a failure. So this is most important, and see the change as an ongoing opportunity. Like AI is one area, right? We all have to acknowledge and accept AI way of working. AI will not change the science, but AI way of working is something that we have to incorporate today, and we have to be change agile and see it as an opportunity and not as a threat. Today, there are several articles saying AI means we will lose jobs. Definitely not. AI is only a tool to make our job easier. So let us all look that as an opportunity. So this is one of the things that normally when the overall drug discovery timeline, 10,000 plus candidates, and we get one out of it. This is how the drug discovery cycle is. But the failure rates at each step of drug discovery and development as I said at the title, digital tools, modeling and AI, they all will shrink this timeline because we already have gathered data. But majority of the problem is about 30 years before, we never had any automated processes. They were all manual. Somebody will look at the reactor and write the temperature. Somebody will look at the pressure gauge and write the pressure. Today we have automated systems which take data directly. But about 30 years before, we never had data collection systems. So our decade between 1990 to 2010 was spent on developing systems that are able to get automated data collection. Because for AI, this data is important. Inaccurate data can lead to inaccurate outcomes. So this data collection is very much great today. We have several in-process checks in several of our processes. Today, when Professor talked about Raman, there is a Raman probe that people can put in the reaction and see how the reaction is happening. So today there are several probes that are able to take uninterrupted data. So we can use AI to look at the data and define the outcomes. So academia to industry. In academia, publication is most important. So you use published information to convert it to the product. You take it to the industry, use the published information and convert to product. From industry to academia, what we can do is we just develop our scientific strategies based on what is published already. And there need to be a lot of collaboration, partnering with the institution, so that when we take it to the industry, we are clear that a particular process will work for the scale and also will give the required outcome for the industry. Today there is a lot of effort to bring these two streams together, and I thank again the organizers to call some people from industry to give you that base element. But you are free to talk to any industry people who are either working or your seniors to understand about it more, develop a passion around it and deliver the product to market, because that is one of the most important requirement for the society. So the science starts here. This is the discovery. That is where the academic institutions start working. And then there is a disclosure, evaluation. Protection is the IP. And then you have marketing, licensing, and then you deliver the product. So all these steps has to be done. I have seen several people, they come to me after they have just done one new chemical structure. They will say, oh, I have a NCE developed, or I have isolated. Can I take it to market? So it has so many steps. So it is minimum of, please keep in your mind, anything that you develop today or you know today, it takes about 3 years, depending upon what level, we call it as a TRL level, what level of discovery, what level of data that you have gained, what is that you know about it, what impact it will create, all that has to be studied. So minimum 3 years. If it is a patient impactful thing like a pharma drug, it is minimum 5 years. Because you have to do a lot of clinical trials, you have to prove that what you are saying is the right thing, not only by data, by evidence, by real-time experimentation. So let us all be clear that how best we can make it faster is one thing, but we should be clear on the practical elements of how do I transform the tacit knowledge into a real laboratory data, into a manufacturable product. All these needs time. So the publication has these elements, right? You have a literature overview, you identify the knowledge gap, you do a research in the lab, research question, research answer you find in the lab, and analysis, and then implications. You just put it as a publication. This is enough to cover a publication. But when you are wanting to convert it to a product, you need to do all this. The commercialization cycle is much bigger than just a publication. So you have to start thinking of this. When you start working in the lab itself, is it translatable? Can I take this research to the next level? That means what are all the parameters I should understand today to make it better for tomorrow? So this is bigger than what we think. So make sure that you understand it. So for example, for publication, the scientific outcome is enough, right? And then in terms of quality, a 90% plus, you can still publish it. Sometimes today even a lower purity is okay if the methodology is novel. And then safety is not a very important thing because you are doing it in small scale. Sustainability is not a very important criteria to publish, but that is good to have. and then scalability is not really people are seeing. But if you want to take it to a product, all of these factors become very, very, very important. So when you are doing a translational research, you want to contribute something to industry, something to society, you have to think of all this. So as I said, the various aspects of scale up here, it needs process and analytical development and research. Process intensification is one important thing where we are looking at atom economy and the waste generation. We have to have minimal of waste for a kg of the product. Per unit of the product, I should generate minimal waste. Then process calculation and design of my reactors. If there is an exothermic reaction, what should be my coolant temperature? At what rate I should pass the coolant? All this necessitates a calculation, including the data analysis, the process safety, and modeling and simulation. So there is a lot of integral work that scientists has to do. Chemists can do reaction, but beyond that, they should be able to collaborate with engineers, IT professionals, and data analytics people to see that you are able to first time write. There is something called as write first time. That means I have a process, I am able to implement it the first time in a right way, so that I have less of failures is the most important part. For the industries, it is not just about the perceived value, it's about real value, right? We may say many things based on paper chemistry, but unless there is a real value to it, we cannot translate it to the manufacturing. That means at the technology commercialization process has these three elements: perceived technology newness, that is what researchers do, novelty or newness, then technology usefulness, that is perceived, and then you have relative advantage. All of these get you to a publication. Then you have to do some innovation around it to make it better. Then you have to do real perceived employment, what kind of employment career opportunities we can generate, and then the utility. And ultimately it is a purchase intention. If I am going to make something and it is not at all amenable for any public or society or industry, all of these stages will become a failure. So this will define the ultimate success of what we do here. So ultimately it is a purchase intention defines the real value, right? So what organizations do is they do this value stream mapping, and that is not a one-time exercise. Even for AI, right, when we look at the processes, we generate AI, but it is a continuous improvement. There is a new data, we again work with the AI. This generative AI is the talk today, rather than just the one-time AI. So that becomes most important, and even in organizations, they keep working on it. They look at the strategy, they look at what portfolio they want to invest on, work on, they get the projects, results and delivery, then they go and see the business value of it. And then they come back and again do this analysis continuously. So this value stream mapping is a continuous process and not a one time I achieved something, oh I have given it. For example, you develop a product and you say it is 25 rupees today. Tomorrow, there will be in market somebody who will be able to make it at 15 rupees. So you have to continuously work on how do I improve, how do I make better value out of it so that to sustain in the market, this is most important. So after all this, I have this last slide. The expert in anything, again, thanks to Amrutavali ma'am, she gave a very big introduction. I am not that a great person anyway. I am just trying to take this passion, carry across me and try to give it to as many people as possible because my professor gave it to me and it is important that that commitment makes me to carry it forward. So the expert in anything was once a beginner. So it's not like experts come just suddenly off the shoot. So let us all begin somewhere and then take it to an expert understanding. And then it is to discover your work and then with all your heart to give it yourself, right? You cannot just see that, oh, it will work outside of me. Nothing will work outside of us. So make sure if you have a passion. I listed so many industry sectors. So choose an industry. Somebody may be passionate about developing a kind of a cosmetic, right? I am having this trouble. I want to develop a cosmetic. Somebody will be interested in in terms of design. Fashion technology people only design the fashion, but the cloth, the dye, everything under that comes from chemistry. So if you are able to change the nature of the cloth, change the nature of the dye that is going to be used, that is ultimately chemistry. So make sure, put yourself into the element of what is needed for you to be successful, get into that area, and I am sure that whatever makes you happy will deliver best of the results. So the best preparation for tomorrow is doing your best today. That is what it is. So do your courses well, do your learning better, so that you can become much better tomorrow. And again, it's not what you achieve. Everything that I talked about did not happen by itself. There will be always bottlenecks. There will be always hurdles. So what you overcome is also important. That means you have to perceive the problems and work towards a mitigation or a solution. Perseverance is another important thing. Perceive what can fail and then persevere over it, then it becomes successful. So I saw some just net resources. There is this shiksha.com which gives a lot of data about what careers that BSc, MSc chemistry can choose. Sometimes these come from very specific industries. When you go out, you may not find what is told there. But I think you all have a very great future. Work towards it. I am sure that you will all be successful. And I saw this from the Shivnada University webpage on chemistry. It was interesting. So if we can just develop so many blogs on chemistry, we can develop interest in that area. And tomorrow's this National Science Day topic is Women in Science, Vikshit Bharat. So I really request all the women here in this room not to leave the chemistry profession saying that it is not good for health, it is polluting, and women's health will get impacted. According to me, chemicals are good if they are handled in the right way. And irrespective of men or women, chemicals, if not handled rightly, can cause problems. So make sure that you stay in chemistry, work in chemistry, and develop a great career and give a very great outcome for industry. They need great chemists. Definitely that need is there today, because I think the government policies are saying we have to do everything in India. So that means there are a lot of chemical industries that will come up that needs great manpower, and I see every one of you developing yourself into a very great industry career, and also as academicians to develop new scientists, next generation people who will get interested on it. Thank you so much for patient listening. Any questions or anything that I can? Yes, sir.
You have 10,000 candidates. Yeah, you said you have 10,000 potential candidates, and then you end up with just one drug. And the most important challenge is the scalability and the price retention. I guess that's the two important challenges to retain a candidate. So, but if there is a national crisis or a global crisis like COVID, then you may have to fasten the process or sacrifice those two parameters and things. So how do you handle it? You have to have a balance between those two, right? How do you handle those?
Yes. So as I said, there are agencies who also review many of the elements, right? Nothing can be, there's a little of shortcut in this area that I would say. But at the same time, when we generate data, especially for COVID, I would say there were several people who came and worked only on that, even in the industry level and the agency level. When it becomes a crisis, one element is not to compromise on standard, but everybody starts focusing on that. Nothing sits on anybody's table. Nothing moves around. Everything comes to one room, and everybody do a kind of a discussion so that they find solution. There were everyday meetings only for that. Every day, every people were in it, right? Like, so that is one way of speeding up the process. And second thing is, as I said, this 10,000 is shrinking now because we have much more developed tools for guest hosts. Theoretical chemistry has come a long way. Once upon a time, people were not taking theoretical chemistry because they found no use. They said like people will go only for teaching. today theoretical chemistry is the best of the chemistries because it gives you room to say what will work, what can fail at the beginning. At least if it doesn't give the best of the candidate, it at least says out of 100 structures, at least you need not have to work on 50 plus structures because they are not going to give the outcome you are looking for. So that way, and in 2000, I know that several people were writing so many structures and were generating combinatorial libraries. For every drug product, there is a combinatorial drug library that was generated, but it is no more now the case. There is no need to generate so many molecules and analyze them because there are targeted drug product development that is aided by data that is generated for so long and the modeling systems and the theoretical chemist who has developed good disease models and also the cure models, right? What kind of molecules, what kind of functionality and all that. So today you have all that available. So your drug design and drug development cycle is getting reduced. For example, as I said, 15 years is the past. Today people are trying to restrict it to 7 years. In COVID, it happened in 3 to 4 years. It was not just started after COVID. The product was already there for viral and other things. So they could put it into immediate testing and get it into the market. But at least today, minimum, it is about 7 years is what I understand. We can take it to, provided we have good domain knowledge, which is chemistry, biology, and how it acts, all that, and put AI on top of it, and then get the best of it. Because if we don't have domain knowledge, we go only with the AI, sometimes we may be misled. So it is a good combination of that core knowledge and the AI companion that will give us a lot of time saving.
Thank you.
Any other cues?
Ma'am, especially industries like API producing industries, I have done an internship in an API producing company where they have taken they have 16 to 17 plants, all are production units. From after the reaction completed, they will be taking all that water as all impure solvent into an effluent treatment plant, where they will be having aeration tanks and all. They said after recycling the water, after getting the pure water, they will be dumping all those waste products into landmines. But they also said they have heavy metals and nitrogen, phosphorus, which can be used as manure, but they are not doing it. So, what kind of procedure that they have carried out in Pfizer, you can say?
Yes. So another thing is the solid waste that comes after the effluent treatment. They boil to the highest concentration and they get that sludge, right? This sludge goes into landfill as of now. But at the same time, it is tested, right? There is a Tamil Nadu Pollution Control Board or whatever, the pollution control people test that sludge for acceptability into the ground. So that has to be done and that data has to be provided before it goes to the landfill. That is one element. Second is, today there are several microbial organisms that people are developing. In fact, that research is continuing so that it becomes cyclical. Earlier, water was drained directly. Now, there is a lot of push both from the government and the industry sector to say, I will renew or I will recycle the water and then make sure that at least I don't take groundwater more. I ensure that the water is not let out. And then for the solid waste, we do a composting process using microbes and see that what portion of it can be used as a manure. And especially there are now methodologies to separate heavy metals from that. And another area, especially if it is an antibiotic API manufacturing company, there are now more stringent norms because there is something called as antimicrobial resistance that is coming up, where you throw the antibiotic waste into ground, the bacteria becomes more resistant and it is not susceptible for any antibiotics. So there are now controls, more different ways of working. So we are looking at microbes transforming that, separating the heavy metals from that by way of electrochemical methods are coming up now. They are developed in the lab and they are translating into industry. Pfizer, US has already taken a pilot plant into ensuring that the wastewater metals are removed completely before it goes into the recycle. So there are because they are all not one component, they have multiple components. So organics has to be broken, metals has to be removed. So there are so many elements, so that process combinedly is working. But I think those technologies are coming under development. That's why I say chemists always, environment sustainability is a big area now. And chemists have a lot of responsibility because you know it better than anybody else. An operator may not know. That operator might not have known what is the overall. For example, there is a manufacturing plant, has 10 reactors. What has gone into it? What is coming out? Have I used any heavy metal salts in that? That chemists can understand. So they can say, oh, this will have zinc. I will ensure that I get a methodology to at least get an electrochemical methodology to remove zinc from this waste. So like that, I think chemists has a lot of role to play in that.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, and wishing you all the very best for a great career in industry is what I would say. But please do whatever you want to do with a lot of passion. It will come out well. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for the truly enlightening and inspiring lecture. Your insights into the industrial landscape, career pathways, and real-world application of chemistry have truly broadened our perspective. I am sure this session has motivated our students to explore opportunities beyond conventional boundaries and to confidently step into the world of industry. Now, it's time for felicitations. So now I would like to call upon Dr. C. Amritavalli to come to the stage.
It's time to felicitate our guest. So I request our head of the department to first felicitate Dr. Bhuvaneswari Sridhar. It's a wonderful presentation, ma'am. We didn't know that there are so many processes in industry, and thank you so much for giving us such an insight about industry. Now, I request Ayyappan sir to felicitate the family members of Batman Sri Jimdi Ganesan. First, I would like to felicitate Narayani Ganesh ma'am. Dr. Revati. Dr. Swaminathan. We also have guests who have visited their alma mater, Dr. Arthur Ramesh. Thank you so much, sir, for coming. And Murli, sir. He is a classmate of Dr. Indra Nui, that batch. Thank you so much, sir, for coming here. Thank you. I hand over the session to Jeffy Lydia.
Now, I invite Dr. E. Rajkumar, Staff Advisor of the Chemical Society and Assistant Professor, Department of Chemistry, to deliver the vote of thanks.
Good afternoon, one and all. The science today is the technology of tomorrow. today we have witnessed exactly how the foundational science of spectroscopy is merging with the technology of artificial intelligence to revolutionize the future of medical diagnostics. On behalf of Department of Chemistry, Madras Christian College, it's my privilege to propose the vote of thanks for this Sri Gemini Endowment Lecture and Dr. R. Gopalan Endowment Lecture. First and foremost, I would like to give my deepest gratitude to our distinguished speaker, Professor Siva Umapati from Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore, for an incredible, insightful session on the spectroscopy and artificial intelligence towards medical diagnostics. His elaboration on how the traditional analytical technique can be augmented with the modern algorithms has shown us the future of non-invasive rapid disease detection. So he highlighted the intersection of disciplines will undoubtedly inspire our students to look beyond the conventional academic boundaries to solve the real-world problems in the healthcare sectors. I express my sincere thanks to our principal and secretary, Dr. P. Wilson, for his constant supports to our department and for presiding over the function and delivering the presidential address. We are also deeply grateful to the Sri Gemini Ganesan family members for their presence and their thoughtful response today. Thank you, ma'am. As we reflect on our broader scope today's program, today's session have been all about the preparing our minds and our students for the dynamic opportunities that lie beyond these academic walls. So with that in mind, I would like to thank our esteemed guest speaker, Dr. S. Bhuvaneswari, the former director, Pfizer Healthcare India and adjunct faculty, IIT Madras. Madam, your insights on industry career for chemists have been incredibly inspiring. You have been highlighting the practical realities of industrial chemists and the skill required for in the corporate sector. So you have been provided the clear, actionable roadmap for our students. So your guidance definitely it will bridge and the critical gap between the academic and the industry. So it will be help for our student to confidently transit from the laboratory to the impact in the pharmaceutical or other chemical industry based career. Thank you, ma'am. My heartfelt thanks to our head of the department, Dr. E. Ayyappan, for his constant support and setting the perfect tone with this welcome address for the both session. And a special note of appreciation to our department choir and Samuel Benea for the prayer and beautifully with the prayer song. And my special note of appreciation to the Chemical Society for their role in this arranging that program. And I would like to thank Sriram for taking the chief guest, receiving chief guest and accommodating everything. Finally, I would like to thank our colleagues, both the teaching and the non-teaching staff members, and the students gathered here for your active participation is what makes this academic endeavor truly meaningful. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you, sir. With that, we come to the end of today's Dr. R. Gopalan Endowment Lecture. Thank you all for your presence and active participation. Let us carry forward the inspiration and insights gained today into our academic and professional journeys. Have a great day. Thank you.